Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel, brother, from up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. I'm not going to play this video in particular because unfortunately, there's some violence on here, and I think YouTube, they real finicky about showing certain acts of violence when it comes to, certain demographics. So I'm not gonna play it. But brothers that know this was a video, says ex-boyfriend tries to break in house while new boyfriend was there, and basically, long story short, the ex-boyfriend basically tried to break in. He actually broke in the crib, and what happened was. Is that dude, her new boyfriend shot at the dude. He basically shot at him. And I don't know if he killed him or not, but he looked like he put two in him. And the chick, the ex or the chick, she was basically kind of pissed off at the new boyfriend. And this is what happens when you deal with these black women, man. All right, not all of them, but a great deal of them. Most of them for the streets, brothers, all right? And we just gonna call a spade a spade. Most of these women are for the streets, man, okay? And you Jakes, you get involved with these women that got, all these different kids and multiple baby fathers, and you get in a real situation with them. Now, granted, Jakes be dealing with baby mamas, you know what I'm saying? Because most of these tricks, they got kids by different men. So that's something that's not avoidable. But in situations like that, you wanna keep it to the bare minimum as far as, just recreational purposes only. And if she can work out a situation that there's no drama, then by all means, do what you do. Not saying marry him or wife him, but, hey, a lot of them are for the streets, bro. But anyway, you don't vet these chicks properly. And then, she's still popping her baby daddy or her ex-boyfriend on the side. And, the nigga gets mad and jealous. And then all of a sudden, he comes back and he wants to kill you. Because this is the thing, right? Let's just say if the new boyfriend didn't really know that the old boyfriend was still in the picture, basically the new boyfriend got a target on his back because the bitch refused to disclose that she was still fucking her ex-nigga, man. And that's how these black women are whores, man. And you got to stay away from them, man, or deal with them bare minimally. Or if you're dealing with a so-called black woman, you just got to make sure she's somewhat decent because... this happens in mainly Jake race. I'll put it to you that way. This is big among blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. Okay, this rarely happens among the Edomite woman unless she's trash, or you got an Edomite chick that got a Jake spirit on her because she's dealt with more than one Jake, then she's basically a nigga woman. But basically he popped dude ass, man. And she's like, no, why you do that? But for one thing, bitch, you shouldn't have had the nigga come over to the crib, but you should have told me that you were still in a situation with this guy, man. Because now I'm finna catch a case for shooting a nigga based on your indiscretion, man. That's why you got to be careful with these demons, man, these hyenas. And this is why Apostle Tahar, he pushed that. Beware of these hyenas, man. All right? They don't mean you no good. Now, I actually have another video as well. And I can show this, but peep this.
Like, I'm watching Steam niggas losing Tyson, bro.
Nobody.
Steam niggas losing Tyson. Yo, my nigga, where's it at? Get up. Where's it at? Where the money at? Where the money at? Yo, what the fuck? Get stop, bro.
So basically, they beat the hell out of him, and ain't no telling what else happened to him, But see, that's what happens. That's what happened when you deal with these ratchet ass women, man. Okay, she basically backdoored this nigga, set him up, and as they was knocking at the door, clearly she knew what was up, and then she bailed out on this cat, bro. And this is typically what happens when you deal with Keisha. And the Latin women too, because like I said, all these women, they got multiple dudes. Okay, whether they currently with them or they got them on the back burner, Mostly, I'll say 98% of these women got side niggas, man. All right, and I mean, it don't take a rocket science to figure it out. That's why the scriptures say, give not thy strength to women. Because, you know, you would meet you a little chick, rub your back, you know, she do all types of favors for you. And before you know it, man, you know, you in the gate of hell, you know? So, you know, got to be extra careful out here dealing with these ratchet ass women. And they think shit like this is cute, you know, and then to somebody, you know, end up catching up with them and cracking their skull. And then all of a sudden, you know, the mama want to yell, oh, well, my baby, she was a scholar, she was on the honor roll, this and this and that. But yeah, your baby is out here backdooring Jake, man. You know? So you got to be extra careful out here, brothers, for real. Let me get a couple of precepts. I'm actually on a roll. So this is, matter of fact, let's start here. Let's go to the book of, let me turn this fucking GPS shit up. Which I ain't really worried about it. I mean, you know, GPS ain't going nowhere important. So, but anyway, this is the book of Proverbs 6, and I'm gonna start at verses 24. Now, this is going into doctrine, okay? Because you know the scriptures refer to wisdom as women. You know, the beauty of women. But it says to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. All right, and that strange woman is really talking about doctrine. All right, to establish that. But it says to keep thee from the strange woman, the evil woman. And these women are very strange, man, because like I said, they're very treacherous. They'll set you up, you know, and there's been several instances that Jake's then got on dating sites and met up with a chick just to be ambushed and robbed, you know, and that happens more often than not, especially among these baby hyenas, okay? 16, 17, 18-year-old chick backdooring Jake, you know, and this is why you Jakes got to do your homework on these women, man, okay? They can't be trusted. Edomite women too. But it says, lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Because, I mean, when you go back to this video here, the bitch is actually cute, you know. If you really look at it, light skin, red bone, even though she got her hair full of weave. But she's probably no more than 17, 18 years old. You know, a little cutie. And bam, you know, dude thought he was going to get some boxes, some shit like that, wherever they at. And all of a sudden, you had 5, 6 YNs that start bamming on the door because they getting ready to, you know, put this dude's lights out, man. Backdooring him. And this common among Jake. You know? But it says here, lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. It says, for by the means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulterers will hunt for precious life, man. Yeah, because all these women are fucking adulterers at the end of the day. You know, no matter how good you dicking them down or riding them down, no matter how big and endowed you may be, you know, on your man parts, at the end of the day, these women are spoiled, bro. Okay, you could think, damn, I gave this motherfucker the pipe of the year. Like I didn't literally telephone pole this hoe, and she's still talking to other niggas because it ain't about how big your ride is, because she's used to getting multiple rides. So one ride ain't gonna satisfy her, bro. Okay, it's like a drug, man. It's like a dopamine hit. These women like multiple rides in them because they've been destroyed. And that comes from being adulterous, because technically they can't pair bond. So you think that, you know, this chick is upright because you sticking and moving in her. She'll still send you off and say, hey, I was asleep. But the whole time she got a whole nother nigga ride in her mouth, bro. And that's just real talk. That's what we deal with here. Scriptures say like wife should be a harlot in the city, man. So, hey, I don't never put nothing past a woman. I don't give a damn if she's Sarah. I don't put nothing past no woman, because they all got this treacherous spirit when it's said and done, especially when you're not catering to them emotionally, because women, they do things out of emotion. You know, her feelings could be as wrong as 3 left shoes, but just because she feel bad about something, and, you know, whatever situation it may be, and you to blame for it in her mind, she'll go and slay with another dude or get you killed, you know. And it says here, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes be not burnt? Or can one go upon hot coals and his feet be not burnt? Okay? And the question is no. So that's the point. These bitches are fucking treacherous, man. You know? And it says here, so that he that go into his neighbor's wife, whosoever touching her should not be innocent. And that's big in the Jake community. So the first video I showed, when dude let shots, dude busting the door, and then all of a sudden the new boyfriend, he let off shots and clipped the other dude. And the old dude's mindset, this could be the nigga she was stepping out with. But she could have told the new dude, like, I'm single, I ain't got no boyfriend. And that's often what happens. You know, a chick like, I ain't got no boyfriend, and then be lying like a motherfucker, man. She just broke up with the nigga 2 days ago, knowing that they're not over each other. So now he's mad. You know, he's calling and texting and getting jealous, and he pops up, and then he catches you. He's gonna do something to you based on a lie of this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, you got to be very careful. That's why when you ask a chick if she got a boyfriend, hey man, you got to really clarify that shit, man. You know, you got to pay attention to body language. You got to pay attention to mannerisms, gestures, all those things, because just because they separated for a day or two doesn't mean she still ain't dealing with the dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's big among these wicked women, man. They do that, and they think it's cute until somebody end up losing their life, man. And it's been several men, like it tells us in our second address, the 4th chapter, first address 4, that many men had ran out of their wits for women. So you got men that literally lost their mind and ran out of their wisdoms against a better judgment because they wanted to be with a fucking woman, man. That's why if I'm having recreational issues or a recreational situation with a woman and she may have a kid or two, you know what I'm saying, I'm keeping it strictly platonic or whatever you want to call it. It's just gonna be straight about business. I'm not getting in a relationship with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not meeting your kids. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not spending no money on you, none of that shit, you know? Because they expect that, man. You know? And them women that got kids by multiple dudes, they all fucked up in the head. You know? That's why they so easily going. You know, they can play the role, they'll rub your back, you know, they'll give you the best type of sex. But at the end of the day, man, these women are mentally through, bro. You know, and it'd be wise to not get caught up all emotionally in their ass. You know? Because, yeah, it hurt when you find a woman that you think like you and you kind of get comfort from her, and then, you know, it take you by storm. She say some shit that don't add up to you, yeah, you be like, man, you fucking demon. You be pissed off, man. You know, you be feeling some type of way, because us as men, you know, shit, you be around a person 2-3 months, you start to like them. You know what I'm saying? And you question yourself, like, why do I even like this broad? She ain't even right. You know, but us as men in America, we've been totally castrated, man. So we end up doing things that's not conducive to our spirit, such as dealing with baby mamas and that shit. I know man want to deal with a woman that got child by another nigga, but it happens, you know, it happens. And it's common in Babylon, you see? And it says here, but whosoever committed adultery with the woman lack an understanding, and he that doeth it destroyed his own soul. All right? So there you go. It says, a wound and dishonor shall he get, and a reproach shall not be wiped away. But for jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance, and he will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. So if you popping a nigga's wife, or you still popping a nigga that got feelings for a chick, hey, they can be broken up 6 months. At the end of the day, in that man's spirit, hey, that's still his woman. Because technically, when you break up with your woman, or you put her away, or she leaves, she's supposed to depart and not remarry unless you die. Because technically, she's still bound by the law of her husband. So that's spiritual. So men oftentimes, they know when a woman has been with another man. You just feel it. You know, like I was dealing with this one chick out here for some time. You know what I'm saying? I considered her my wife, but when I really thought about it, I'm like, fuck this bitch, bro. She ain't fucking right. And then a year later, probably even before then, I suspect that she was saying this nigga when I was in the picture, because we used to have breakups and all this other shit, you know, periodically, often. Like, I used to break up with this bro like every fucking other week. So we had a relationship off and on. But, you know, it's gotten better. It's to the point I stopped really giving a fuck. I'm like, man, fuck this bro. She a concubine at the end of the day, you know. So, long story short, we broke up, you know, for several reasons, but ultimately because she couldn't deal with the fact that an Israelite man can have more than one wife. You feel me? She couldn't get with that. But yet, this hoe had how many niggas before I met her? So, you know, just a hypocrite at the end of the day. But long story short, now she's engaged to some retarded ass nigga that she grew up with, which I expected that to happen. You know, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, it is what it is. You know, that's less of a headache I got to deal with. You know, but a guy usually will crash out behind that. Call Lawyer about Shimon Shot 144, because, you know, they're like, damn, I put 8 years into this bride just for her to meet another nigga that she been feeling the whole time a year later. You know, but me, I don't feel no type of way about it, because I was like, I don't care. But that show you how these women, they got options. And I guarantee you the nigga was probably in her inbox Or she probably still secretly had feelings for him, because one thing about it, you're not the first. You know, so when you coming into situations that these women already had passed, it's always gonna be a dude that they resort to or console in, or that they like better than your fucking ass, man. You know, and the thing of it is, he give her the lifestyle that I wouldn't give her. I wouldn't marry her legally. I'm like, if you can't accept the fact that you my wife without Esau's paperwork, then no. You know, and the fact that this goofy, this simpleton, you know, he marries the bitch on paper. So, you know, hey, and what he don't understand is that this is her fucking second legal marriage. So it's unlikely to work. She's been married twice on paper, you know, and this goofy, he goes behind me 8 years, and then the baby father and whoever else she was fucking with in between there. Now he's just gonna be another statistic, and Lord forbid, God forbid, he gets the bitch pregnant. You know, if he gets her pregnant, then hey, this joke on you. Which, you know, the scripture said, a wicked man is given to a wicked woman. You know, so hey, it's a blessing in disguise. But that shows you here, men, they won't be content with gifts, bro. You know, they gonna want your head. And regardless of this situation that I'm using as an example of myself, she got a lot to pay for, because for one thing, you tried to I'm a man of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. I don't give a fuck who feels some type of way about that. That's adultery. I claimed you as my wife, and you go and you lay with another dude, the Most High is going to destroy him and her. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's a lose-lose situation for them both. And that's what happens, you know? But niggas be out here crashing out behind these females, man. You know, and this is why it ain't worth it. You know, the scriptures say, give not thy strength to women. So, you know, we got to be more on point. And I use that as an example because that's very common in Israel. You know, not to shit on a chick or whatever, because it's not really about the female, but it's about the situations that's very common in Babylon. You know, that's very common among Israelite families, man. You know, so you brothers that think that the woman you've been with 10 years, she might not go in the kingdom with you, man. The Lord have women set aside for us, man. And the funny part about it is, through the midst of all that bullshit, I met a woman twice as better than her that do everything she wouldn't do. You know, but yet she meets a nigga in the world. So obviously the Lord was on my side, because I met a chick that she basically worships the ground I fucking walk on, man. Anything, meals, I can say, hey baby, I need you to come bring me. She would go literally on the other side of town just to bring me food, just to make sure I'm fed, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, call Lord Yahweh Shemi Hawashai, man. You know, it worked out. But anyway, Proverbs 7. And this goes into the wiles of a harlot, you know, strange doctrine, of course. But it goes here. It says, I'm gonna try to start because I'm actually driving. This is the book of because it's really talking about wisdom. You know, at the end of the day, it's really about wisdom. It's not actually talking about women, but we apply it. Let me try to find a good stopping point in Slovakia. Trying to do these in transits and bring out scriptures at the same time, man. Jake ain't multi-talented like that. I used to be able to bring out precepts while on a highway going 80 miles an hour and be on point. Now I'm like, fuck it, I ain't trying to hit shit, you know. Especially nowadays, people are very, they're crazy on the road, man. You know. But this is the book of Proverbs 7. And I'm going to start at verses 21. It said, with her much fair speech, she caused them to yield. And the flattering of our lips, she forced them. Yeah, so when you think of a woman, and they're using examples of women, because, bro, a woman is a man's weakness, bro. Like, we love women. Shit, ain't nothing like laying up with a fine, pretty chick and do everything you want her to do. And, you know, she got the good, you can buy it. Ain't nothing like that. I don't give a fuck what no man say. We all been there. We all been head over heels for a woman that we damn near lost our mind over, bro. We all been there. You know what I'm saying? Our fathers been there. Hell, the apostles, they got stories of them. So I remember Apostle of Christ said he poured out a motherfucking katana on a bee getting ready to cut a bitch head off. So, hey, it happens, man. You know, there ain't nothing wrong with that. It happens. We just got to be more in a stable spirit. Because if you crash out behind it, then the Lord, you got taken by our attempts. You know? Shit, like I was mentioning, like the chick I was with 7-8 years, I was head over heels for that chick. That was my shit. That was my shorty. Fuck, we had the same curse day, everything. Like, it was just like, it all mad up. And through the spirit, I believe, you know, I believe that was a wife of my ancient. I believe through the spirit, that woman was attached to me in the ancient world. She had to be. It was too coincidental how we linked up and just everything just aligned. Like we had a lot of shit in common. We liked the same shit. It was just like, damn, you know, she was just a fucking demon. But the Lord showed me the worst half of myself, and I felt like that was a lesson for me to learn, because I've learned a lot being in that situation on what not to do and how to handle things and to be better emotionally equipped to deal with situations, man. You know, because shit, it wasn't nothing I wouldn't do for that. That was my fucking wife, shit. Hell, she even got pregnant by me, but we end up, you know, she had a miscarriage. She had a miscarriage, man. You know, she had a miscarriage, so. But that was all through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua at the end of the day, so. But anyway, let me park, and I can bring out a couple of precepts real quick. I can focus a little bit more. But this is the book of Proverbs 6:27-21. It says, with her much fair speeches she caused him to yield, but the flattering of our lips she forced him, and he gored after her straightway as an ox, because an ox represents strength. It says straightway. Yep. Go to the slaughter, or as a fool, correction of the stocks, till a dart striketh through his liver, as a bird hasten to the snare, and know it not that it is for his life. Damn. Said adulterers will hunt for precious life. It says, hearken unto me now, therefore, all ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth, and let not thy heart decline to her ways, and go not astray for our paths. For she have cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her, and her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death, man. And like I say, even though that's talking about doctrine and philosophies and all this other shit, they compare it to a woman because, hey, shit, one of my coaches 2 days ago, he straight up told me, you know, because we was talking, I'm like, well, shit, I deal with a shit. I ain't gonna cap. I deal with a couple of different women. Shit, it is what it is. I ain't got no shame in that. I'm an Israelite. I can do what the fuck I want to do when it comes to that department, you know, but using wisdom, of course. But and you know, the current chick I deal with, she don't care. She already know what's up. She don't scoff. She know what's up, you know. And she got a problem, she can step too. But anyway, so he was telling me, man, he was like, yeah, you been there, but he was like, man, women can breathe life into you, or they can breathe they can break you down, and that's a true statement. Okay, matter of fact, let's get that. First Esdras 4, many men have run out of their wits for women. You know, because like that first video, the dude basically crashed out, man. He kicked in the door and he got shot. All because, you know, shit, he wanted to see what was up with his chick. And the new boyfriend was there, which she probably didn't tell him that she got a crazy nigga still creeping up. These women are treacherous, bro. But this is the book of First Esdras 4, and I'm going to start at verses 25. It says, wherefore men loveth his wife better than father or mother. And it says, yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sake. Yep. It says, many have also perished and have erred and sinned for women. And it says, and do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power, and do not all regions fear to touch him? All right. But it says, many have perished and erred for women. Because like I said, when you give your strength over to him, it's a wrap, man. Because your feelings get hurt, and through the spirit, you know you're supposed to rule. You know she's supposed to serve you. So when she does something that's contrary to that, you marvel at that. And, you know, you get pissed off and you're like, you know what? Now everybody got to die. But that's not the spirit you want to be in, man, because ultimately in Esau society, he give the women the authority to do what the hell they want to do when they want to do it. And they know that. All right. But anyway, last precept, Micah 7:10. She that is my enemy shall see it. Shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? It says, my eyes shall behold her. Now she should be trodden down as the mire of the streets. All right. So all these women that left the men of the Lord or got put away by the men of the Lord, and just in general, all y'all gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to face that reality sooner than later. All right, you ain't get out of the kitchen yet because you think you got out of the kitchen. The fire is still hot, man. And eventually, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will visit you. All right. So anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Shem Yahushua by Shem Kakwadash. Lord's will, you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.